Okay, so welcome back, guys. This is Wolfwire Studios, and first of all, apologies for creating a big long gap in my uploading schedule. And if you guys remember from the last devlog, I tweeted this, the protagonist of the game, and I conveniently named him Jack, and I created him in CC3, and I tweeted this image that was his front look. Let me just show you guys the CC3 model. Here it is. I created this in CC3. It was easy to make. It's a very basic model, as you can see. I just gave him a jeans and he's topless because I would be creating a t-shirt for him or a jacket or something. And in CC3 here, it looks really, really good. I mean, CC3 is good. The problem that I faced is the source that took me 10 days to make this devlog, guys. That is what happened with me. It took me around 10 days to figure out how to send this properly and then retarget it to UE4 skeleton. It was very difficult, honestly, but somehow, anyhow, I got the answers and here it is. So let me just quickly proceed. I took this model and I exported using this FPX clothed character, and I chose two presets, one for Unreal and one for Blender, and I embedded the textures in both of them and deleted the hidden mesh, hidden faces. So yeah, I in turn had two FBX files, one for Blender, one for Unreal. The only difference both of them has is textures. And yeah, so the main issue that I encountered was that CC3 uses a different skeleton than the typical Unreal skeleton. I'll just show you the skeleton in a minute. So I had to find a way to somehow send this character into Unreal and then have all the animations of the the skeleton work perfectly in my game. If you guys remember from the last devlog, the game was working perfectly fine, right? I had all the animations and everything set up and everything was perfect the way it should be. But then this character introduced a lot of issues here. So long story short, I used this UE5 plugin to extract the mesh. I'll show you guys the workflow I used here in UE5 in Blender. I'll just show you that in a minute. Other than that, I was using AutoRec Pro. A friend of mine gifted it to me, and I was using it, but it didn't help. Apparently, it is very nice in rigging for Unreal, and it is very simple. But in my case, it did not work properly. It was giving me a lot of issues. And finally, yesterday, I found this plugin that will convert all of your textures and set your character properly in Blender. As you can see, the name itself is CC3 Blender Tools by developer Soup Day. You can just find it on GitHub. And I downloaded it, and here's the final result. So what I did, guys, I used UE5 here on this mesh. Let me just show you guys quickly. There is this button, extract mesh. So what I did to extract the mesh, I imported the Unreal character, the Unreal CC3 export. I duplicated this mesh and I deleted the shape keys on the face here. There are shape keys on the face here. You cannot see them, but they are used to control the facial rig of the character. I deleted those shape keys and on the second mesh, I extracted it from the rig, the CC3 skeleton. It's not here, but it is very terrible to work with. I'm just telling you guys. If you are not using iClone, which I was not as of now, it is very difficult to animate your process. So I extracted the mesh and then I transferred all of the shape keys onto this mesh. So this was the mesh that I finally had with me. And I imported the Unreal Mannequin, Mr. Mannequin here, just to get the references. So I duplicated this. I did a small but smart trick, which took me again 10 days to clear out in my head. I duplicated this armature. Let me just show you this armature. And then I parented this armature to my mesh. Now, it wasn't perfect by any means. Yes, I had to edit a lot of stuff. I had to use all of the vertex groups here. As you can see, let me just give you an example. It's a big list. Yeah, param twist, for example. Yeah. So as you can see, all of these vertex group have something attached onto them, right? That is what it is creating on its own. This armature is creating. And even if I select automatic weights while parenting, something or the other will remain. Okay. That's the nature of parenting armature to a mesh. So what I did was I manually edited all the vertex groups and set the ones in the correct ones. For example, the lower arm would be from here to here. Just an example. The upper arm part would be from here to here, and the clavicle would be all of this. So I just manually reconfigured all of the vertex groups here, and then it was done and dusted. Somehow now I'd figured out a way to animate my character using the UE4 skeleton basically to rig it or to give it the armature, and then I used the typical pipeline export to Unreal, and then I sent all of this in Unreal. Where is it? Yeah, this is my rig, as you can see, and it is looking good. And you might ask, how is it looking good? Well, I mean, yeah, the beard is messed up. So Reallusion, in their infinite wisdom, the company that created Character Creator 3, Reallusion, in their infinite wisdom, failed to make a plugin for Unreal Engine 5. And you just cannot copy paste the plugin for Unreal Engine 4 into Unreal Engine 5 and hope it will work and everything is fine. No. The problem is that there is no native plugin, so you have to directly import it. Sorry, create the character in Unreal Engine 4 and then send it here in Unreal Engine 5. So I migrated this folder, CC shaders. It is very essential for the correct shader placement. And then I imported this, where is it? Yeah, CC3 FBX folder, which had the original character. So if you look closely, it looks good. It looks brilliant because it is the native CC3 character. But the problem is the skeleton. Let me just show you guys. Is there a way to show you guys the bone names? Yeah. The skeleton here, it is a bloody mess. I mean, all of the names. See, the name itself, like, yeah, CC underscore base underscore L underscore rib twist. All of these extra bones and all of them bones were, named with a prefix of CC. And it was a obstacle in my way of creating this. So I went out of my way and I just did this, what I showed you guys here. And I used the CC3 materials that were configured because of this migration. And I used them on my character. And now I have my character, which is working in a lot of ways. Let me just show you guys the blueprint. See, there is no additional blueprint. This anim blueprint works perfectly fine. And in my Jack blueprint or the player blueprint, I just imported my character here and I had no issues. Why? Because this character is using the same skeleton. I just showed you guys here in Blender, right? I was using the same FPX. Where is it? Yeah, as you can see. If I take this character and I click on skeleton, I get the UE4 mannequin. So after importing, I reassigned the skeleton here. As you can see, skeleton, assign skeleton, and it is working fine. Even if I check with an animation, let's say walk forward, sprint forward, yeah. See, it's not totally perfect. There are some blemishes on the mesh, but it is nearly perfect, as you can see. So this was the solution to the problem that I was facing in the last 10 days or so. And yeah, that's all, guys. That's all. That's all what I have done in the past 10 days, and it was very difficult, getting it up and running. Like, you won't believe I retargeted this mesh, this CC3 mesh using an IK rig, and I retargeted every animation. I created a long retargeting chain of around 20 or so bones, and even then, I had a very bad result. It was horrible, and I did not record it because, again, it was not worth showing here. But good things are good things, and here I have a result. And let me just show you guys in action. Yeah. So as you can see, this is the character. He can crouch just like the old one. Let me just full screen. Yeah. Just like the old one, he can crouch, which is cool. You can again attach all of your optics. They work just, what happened to the textures? I don't know. They work perfectly fine. And yeah, like that's the thing. I'm using the same skeleton, right? So I have the same stuff configured already. Yeah, I saw my hair for a moment. Never mind. So yeah, that's it. This is the weapon sway, And this is the vertical weapon sway. The turn in place works fine, as you can see. Turn in place works fine. I know the head is clipping, the head or the chest is clipping a bit. I'll fix it down the line. And other than that, I have added one more problem in this. Let me just show you guys quickly. If I press T, you can see the fingers are not perfectly aligned. Well, that is the problem when you manually do the mesh, your fingers won't be aligned perfectly. So I'm finding a way to configure them, in the skeleton itself and have the rotations done perfectly. Till that time, I have no solution, but I'll find one. Other than that, guys, I'm thinking of removing this, left hand that is right beneath the barrel. I'm thinking of removing this position entirely, and instead I'll press 8 and I'll go with this. Yes, I know the arm is broken right now. As you can see, if I unpossess, as you can see, the arm is broken. It's completely broken. I don't know why it is happening. This is some problem in the mesh. This was not happening with the UE4 skeleton. So there has to be something. But if you see here closely, the position of the arms or the position of this hand is nearly perfect, like nearly perfect. So I can tweak it within the character and I can fix this rotation if I can within the animation blueprint, and that may help me do that. And this is the code that I'm using for the left hand, that is, going right beneath the vertical grip. I'm using again the transform modify bone and running a switch blend pose by bool on this vertical grip. And this variable again is obtained here in the event graph of my character. As you can see, I made another function in the weapon base and I override this function in my M4 blueprint. And it is a very basic function. It is just attaching the vertical foregrip onto the weapon, and it is setting this variable on and off. And this variable is being called here, as you can see, vertical grip. And yeah, that's all. I know, guys, it's not much given I just wasted 10 days on a problem, and even after this solution, the arms aren't perfect. So yeah, that's all, guys. That's all in this devlog. I know it's not much. It's difficult. It's really difficult to make games when you are doing it all on your own. But yeah, that's the process. And next up, I'll be fixing this character even more because I cannot proceed if the character isn't perfect. It has to look perfect. It has to look realistic, at least, believable enough while in combat and everything. And after that, I shall move on to level designing and get my blockouts, the real blockouts ready, and use my mesh and then make the proper level design of this whole area. It's very big. So I'll be having a vehicle that will be fast so that I can quickly drive to the annex and, test the physics and everything in real time. And yeah, that's all, guys. That's it. See you guys in the next one. Cheers.